Welcome to the season of self-love, your daily dose of inspiration and encouragement. I'm your host, Nyomi and I am thrilled to be here with you today. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery. Are you ready to elevate your mindset and embrace the power of self-love? Well, have you come to the right place? Each day we'll dive into topics that will empower and inspire you on your journey towards self-discovery and personal growth. Whether you're looking to cultivate healthy relationships, boost your confidence, or find balance in your life, this podcast is here to support your every step on the way. We believe that self-love is the foundation of living a fulfilled and joyful life. And together we explore practical tips, insightful interviews, and transformative stories that will leave you feeling inspired and motivated. So join me Monday through Friday as we embark on this daily adventure of self-love. Tune into the Season of Self-Love podcast to start your day on a positive note and discover the limitless potential within yourself. All right, my beautiful people, welcome to another episode of the Season of Self-Love podcast. And today we're going to dive into a very powerful affirmation. Remember, April is Affirmation Month. And the affirmation for today is, I release resentment and forgive others to create space for peace and healing. And today we have our resident therapist, Dr. Will, who will help us to navigate the complex, the set rewarding journey for forgiveness. All right. So again, as we continue our April series on affirmations, let's explore how forgiveness and transformation on our self-love journey. So Dr. Will, hey.
Hey, I am grateful and glorious. How are you?
Okay, grateful and glorious. I am doing so well.
Good.
I feel good today. I really do. I feel we had the eclipse on Monday.
I had 99% visibility. So it was dark, it was cold. Yeah, it was amazing. And I feel like the world switched. I feel like we're starting over. I feel like the world like started over again. Like it's like day one. You know what I mean? It feels like a new year almost. The way
Wow.
it feels. Like the energy was just beautiful. It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm about to go down a hill. I'll talk to you later about it. I'm about to go down that little rabbit hole.
we ain't even get in the field yet.
And I can't really go down there. All right, my beautiful people. Again, this is NmW&x here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. And today we're talking about the affirmation of forgiveness and peace and healing. And we do have Dr. Will here, but let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're gonna get into this affirmation. I am truly loving this affirmation month and really getting down to it and just, just peeling the layers of it. Oh, yes. All right, it's your girl, D Goddess NmW&x here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. We will be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Get ready to bloom and blossom this April with Season of Self-Love. It's a month filled with daily affirmations designed to uplift and empower you on your self-love journey. Join us as we delve deeper into these affirmations and learn how they can positively impact your daily life. Hosted by the insightful NmW&x, each episode promises to be an incredible affirmation experience. Plus, we're thrilled to have our resident therapist, Dr. Will Washington, joining us to provide expert guidance and support. Tune in daily to the Season of Self-Love podcast and let's discover together the power of self-love, affirmation, and personal growth. Don't miss out on this transformative journey. Subscribe now and start blooming into the best version of yourself. The Season of Self-Love podcast, where every day is an opportunity for growth and self-love.
All right, well, welcome back. It's your girl, Goddess NmW&x here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. And today we're talking about forgiveness and peace. And we're breaking down the affirmation of I release resentment and forgive others, to create space for peace and healing. But guess what? We got Dr. Will here to help us through this, to help us figure out how to be peaceful and healing in this glorious, what's the two words?
Glorious and grateful.
Grateful day. That's right. Glorious and grateful day. You ready for this, Dr. Will?
Yes. These every single word has an entire breakdown. So this is one of these kind of podcasts today. So make sure you get your purpose pen and purpose paper.
Ooh, I got mine together. I got mine together. So I'm gonna put you to work, right?
You always make these affirmations really intense. Like these words, you put these words together and they're all intense words. These are all intense words.
Life is intense.
Life be lifing. Life be lifing. Life is intense.
If we're gonna use these words, then we really truly need to know what these words mean and how they affect our lives and how we to use them in our lives. Remember the 4 agreements. Remember use the words.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I got nothing. I can't say anything because when you're right, you're right. I'm not gonna lie. I got nothing.
All right. So what you can do for me right now? No, seriously, if you can bless us to guide us through this beautiful meditation, this exercise, it will be phenomenal.
Yes, I actually created a new one today. I was doing a training, and I gave this to all my participants to challenge their grounding. So we're gonna work on this real quick.
Okay.
Right. So make sure you get comfy. Make sure you allow your eyes to relax, allow your chin to loosen, allow your neck to relax, allow your shoulders to be relaxed, allow your stomach to loosen, allow your legs to be soft, your feet to be planted, and just focus on your breath. In with your nose, out with your mouth. In with your nose, out with your mouth. I want you to learn the value of your breath. I want you to imagine yourself holding this large anchor, this large, big metal anchor. It's heavy, it's strong, just so big. Breathe in with your nose, out with your mouth. Allow your breath to be the reason why you can hold this anchor. Allow your breath to surround that anchor. So when you breathe out, that air is covering the anchor. Allow your breath to be the force that becomes the anchor. Allow your breath to become the anchor in your life. Breathe in with your nose, out with your mouth. Allow that anchor to now be your breath. Find the strength of your grounding, the power of your mind. As your body connects, think about what you need just for today to allow your breath to be the anchor in your life. And as you continue your breathing, slowly come back and notice that your breath is at the root of your body and mind.
Thank you. Oh, that was nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
I felt, I don't want to say I felt heavy, but I felt very grounded. It's like I used that weight to just hold me down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's turning breath into a more realistic feeling.
Yeah.
We don't know what our breath is supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
but you realize that your breath is everything you need to be here.
Yeah. So I'm about to, and maybe the listeners are feeling this too. So what I'm feeling right now, and you might laugh at me, what I'm feeling right now is right here in my head is light, but right here in my chest is grounded. It's like it's holding me down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's an alignment. It's alignment breathing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I like that. All right.
I would
So.
love. I would love to see you actually do that script because I know you do guided meditations for
Mhm.
people. I would love for you to do your voice with that and do
Yeah,
something
I
like
like
that.
that. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk. I like that. I
Okay.
do. That was a good one. That was a good
Mm-hmm.
one. All right. So if you're new here to the Season of Self Love podcast, it's something that we do every day, Monday through Friday. Here, it's to kind of help ground us before we get into the topic at hand. And the topic that we're talking about today is about releasing resentment and forgive others to create a space for peace and healing. And again, remember that April is the month of blooming and blossoming. As we continue to create and dig seeds and plant seeds and water them and all of that, we also have to remember about our own ourselves. And one of the biggest things that I realized through my healing process is about forgiveness and understanding what forgiveness is and what it looks like for us. So even using this affirmation of, as Dr. Will would say, as these strong words, um, I'm wanting to unpack it, and I want to just truly hear from Dr. Will um, on what it really means. So here's my first question for you, Dr. Will. Could you help us to understand what it truly means to release resentment and forgive?
Yeah. So we first have to understand what releasing means, right? Releasing is a true action. It is a acceptance. And we have to understand that when you're releasing something, you understand that it has that much power over you
Mm-hmm.
and it no longer does anymore. Right. And which is why I chose the anchor today.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we have people, places, and things that become our anchor.
Mm-hmm.
And we feel like we don't have the right alignment or worthiness or self love to let that go.
Mm-hmm.
So releasing is understanding and accepting that this thing no longer has the same value as it should in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first part. Resentment. Resentment is, I always say it's pointing a finger at something and then, but really the other fingers are pointing back at you. I'm mad at what this person does, but really it's about me not being coulda, woulda, shoulda for myself.
Mm.
Once again, that's accountability and ownership in the lack of potential and promise that you knew you had for yourself. So it was you discarding or disregarding your worth in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And then forgiveness. We always say, I'll forgive you, but I won't forget.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I can't agree with that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is that if you truly forgive somebody or something, you let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is that that thing or person comes back into your life. They can come back into your life if you want to or not. It doesn't matter. Do you have enough discipline in you to not let them have the same access and power and ability in your life? That's how you know if you're truly over somebody or something, right? And that means you probably didn't tell your story enough to truly forgive yourself enough to let go, right? A lot of us say, well, that's what I was in the past. That's not who I am now. Okay, great. But when you're met with somebody that represents a part of your past,
How do
why
you?
do you
Mm-hmm.
exactly?
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
releasing resentment to understand forgiveness, but you got to understand the acceptance and the understanding of releasing, understanding the woulda, coulda, shoulda of resentment,
Mm-hmm.
and then understanding the forgiveness and letting go of ourselves in that story. No
Mm-hmm.
longer writing our part in that story anymore.
Yeah. Wow. This morning, my mom went on. I took her on a walk this morning. We were on a walk, and I was, talking to her. We got the final diagnosis yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got the final and that was just a whole funny thing there with that whole thing. So she diagnosed her with Alzheimer's dementia, and
Mm.
my mom said, "Don't be putting that on me. I ain't claiming it."
How dare you? Like, how dare you tell me these things?
They don't know what they talking about. And the doctor was like, "Wait, so explain to me what you're saying. What is happening?
What did we do wrong? You tell me.
You explain to me." Well, I don't know. They keep saying I'll be forgetting, but I don't remember that. And
Uh,
it was um it was funny to see that, and meaning funny is that now I can take moments, both me and my sister, we can take moments and we can laugh and find joy in it because we know what it is, and I'm actively working to help that situation. You understand what I'm saying? So
mm,
not like me not knowing what I'm going into. And
mhm.
so knowing this, so as we walking today, we're walking and I'm explaining to her, I'm filming, I'm recording and filming because I'm doing this series on YouTube, about living through dementia, why my mom is living with dementia. So that's kind of like that, where I'm having a conversation with her about the doctor appointment yesterday. How does she feel about it? Now I'm at the park because this is where I feel my most grounded, where we're able to walk, where I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone here, where we walk in the
Mhm.
dog and, and we're having this conversation. And I don't believe that she remembered what happened the day before. But in
Wow.
her conversation, I mean, this woman is a very intelligent woman, a very prideful woman. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I heard what the doctor said." I said, "Well, how do you feel about it?" "Well, I just feel about it." I said, "Well, those are some interesting answers." I said, "They're so just
Mm.
wide and vague." I said, "You don't think so?"
Yeah. That was a very. I mean, I like the existentialism of it all. Like, I love the whole like. It's very ethereal. Like, yeah, it's very. Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so, and we was walking, and I can feel her burning the hole right here in the back of my head. And she said, "Well, I know she about to just talk to me." And I said, "Well, you know what?" I said, "Well, Mom, while right now, before things get," I said, "we need to really talk about some things." And so we, talk about the power of attorney and all of that stuff, walking. And I said, and what I told her, I said, "I might not get it right all the time." I said, "But know that I am working my best to figure this out, because trust and believe that this right here is bigger than the both of us, and I'm paying
Hmm.
attention to what is being told to me, in this process." And and so she went like, "I know about this process. I know about, everything." And then she goes all the way back to my dad. And then all of a sudden she's like, "But that don't hurt me no more. I'm healed from that." Okay, well, where he come from? Because that man been dead for about for about
You
17
know.
years. Come from.
Yeah.
And I would just sit out, and I had to kind of grab myself like, don't,
Hmm. You had to catch
don't
yourself. Yeah.
get myself. But when you were speaking about forgiveness, and when you were talking about resentment, and honestly, I believe that's a lot a part of her dementia and her Alzheimer's.
Hmm.
I believe that's a part of it. When you are in a point in your life that you have been harmed in some way, or felt like you were not safe or anything like that, I think it
Mm.
kind of does a unbalance to a lot of things up there, as well as what we eat, and all of those
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say I do have a lot of patients and I mean clients
Mhm.
that do have dementia and Alzheimer's. And when they're in that process and I'm preparing the family and just speaking with them, I remind them of the traumatic expressions that may occur. right? And understand that the amount of mental aptitude that they were holding on to so that they would not react in normal situations.
Mm.
They no longer have the mental bandwidth
Yeah.
to know the difference between this. It's not about right or wrong. It's I'm here or I'm not,
Yeah.
right? And right or wrong is not something that they're thinking about, right?
Right.
They're feeling, like they said, I'm just feeling,
Mm-hmm.
because they can't control the impulse of the mind, what it does and what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm teaching them to take it less personal
Mm-hmm.
and understand that there might be stories that come up or statements that might be even said
Mm-hmm.
where it's really about them, what they're not dealing with or what they have not been able to deal with. And you might be a reminder of a story that they've hidden
Mm-hmm.
or repressed in their life, or
Mm-hmm.
a reminder of their life. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I just saw how everything has been aligned with me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say everything has been aligned with me, is that my path was already guided for me.
Mm.
Yes. I understand why I was in the adult industry, because it taught me some things, not only patient, but it also allowed me to be at a point to where I am vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
You had to live your vulnerability,
yes,
right? You didn't just have to be vulnerable. You had to live through that.
yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And also living to a point to where I will always have to be at a point to where I will have to have compassion and empathy for others, because even through that process that I went through the industry, I was going through my healing process and didn't even know it.
Wow.
And so now when I react to people, those reactions are so totally different than what they would
Mm-hmm.
have been if I hadn't went through that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know?
But also all those experiences, it made you look at humanity in a different way,
Yes. Oh my,
right?
yes. Oh my,
Yeah.
yes, it has. Yes. Yes. It when I say a lot of times I feel hurt for the world. I do, because it's so many hurt people out there. Oh my
Yeah. I've I've done universal meditations
God. Mm,
where I would sit and I would just try to feel what the world is, and I would choose, I would meditate and go to different continents. Right? You do continent exploring.
mm, mm,
Um, the energies from each one, I had to hold back the anger, the resentment, the fear, the scarcity, the promise, and the ignorance
mm,
that was occurring, that didn't let us see the world, that wouldn't let us see each other.
mm,
And that was such a eye-opening experience. And I couldn't do that a lot because I kept either trying to create something that could heal the world, or I would try to just always apologize and get angry at
mm.
why am I stuck in this place if I know that all this is happening.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost shame that I could
Mm-hmm,
live like this.
mm-hmm,
Everybody always says, "Oh, I hate being American." Blah blah blah. Like, I'm like, no, no, I love being American.
mm-hmm.
I just don't appreciate how even my privilege as an American sometimes dismisses the lives of so many other people,
Yeah. Mm,
and that's a privilege of being American,
mm,
right? Like we have those privileges, and I think that there's such a universal hurt. There is a baseline hurt because we've all grew up with people that were supposed to care for us,
yeah.
and
Mm-hmm,
they didn't do everything they could.
yeah.
So how did we become adults knowing that we were those broken kids,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that goes back to whole narrative origin stories and but it changes the way you look at humanity and how you hold resentment and how you look at forgiveness in life.
Yeah.
It's a very childlike feeling. Forgiveness is a very childlike foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And and a lot of times, if you don't understand your inner child or you have not healed your inner child, forgiveness is going to be a very difficult thing
Yeah.
to overcome.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when you when you said about the that I will forgive, but I will never forget, and you said that you don't really accept that one now. That you don't accept it
I
anymore.
used to. I don't anymore.
Yeah. Because when you do, that means you're not really releasing all of that. So here's a question for you: could that be? Is more of non-forgiveness of yourself because maybe you allowed yourself to be put in those situations, or allowed just yourself to be put in those modes? You know, sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's a part of taking accountability for your actions, or your lack of action
Mm-hmm.
for those situations that you were put in, that you chose
Mm-hmm.
to go into. You know what I'm saying? So now it's easier.
Yeah.
You say, I forgive them, but I would never forget. But
Mm-hmm.
is it because you won't forget? Is because just like you just said about
It-
the you and the boundaries and yep, okay.
yeah.
You answered.
Yeah. And I don't want to go dark, but I feel like we should go a little dark about this, and then we can come right back to the light. So okay, so this month is sexual assault month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for someone that's a survivor, how dare I tell them that if they don't forget, they're not really healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There could be a lot of upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm not saying that forget like it never happened. What I'm saying is when you are learning to heal through this and you're learning to forgive yourself, because a lot of times you get the shame, you feel like it's your fault. You have a lot of projection and a lot of things come onto you, and you have to get rid of those. The new life of a survivor, you have to take control of yourself, the way you live your life, the way you set yourself up emotionally, mentally, socially, environmentally. All these things are impacted in moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you truly heal through that process, you have to forget that, because that is not the person that you are anymore. So, this new person that you live, that's the standard. This is the
Mm-hmm.
expectation. Oh, I remember when that happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
but
It doesn't affect me the way that it did before. This is,
exactly.
I understand what it is. I've taken the tools from that to live my
Mhm.
life for what I am today. I got
And,
it.
if you see that person that did that, or if you're around that person that did that, and you see them and you're triggered by them, you're not triggered just because that was the person. You're triggered because you know that that person represents something that you no longer stand for.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I think that's very important to acknowledge that. To forget, you know, you have to acknowledge that's releasing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if they live rent free in your mind, in your heart, in your space, and I tell people all the time, people are not thinking about you as much as I wish they would. People are not thinking about you. I wish they would think about me more, because I would really appreciate it. I keep caring about everybody, but they
Like,
don't.
I would people stop thinking about me and talking about me because I don't be thinking about none of they but no, I'm just kidding.
Because at some point they're gonna get tired. And so, funny story about that, real quick, just real quick. It's so important to understand that when people do not take accountability for what they have done to cause it,
Mm-hmm.
they'll tell the story, but they can only tell it so many times because it ended, because they didn't actually see it through all the way. So when you see people that are angry, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened,
And it's like, okay, I'm listening, I'm processing. And then once they're done with it, I'm like, is there anything more to the story? No. I'm like, well, why not? Like, well, I never really went back and resolved it and released it. And so they just keep saying the same story over and over. And so they never actually resolve it. They never land the plane.
Right.
Right. So it's always they always gotta do a turnaround. And so it's like you have to land the plane when you're having resentment. If you want to release resentment and have forgiveness, you have to land the plane. Period. And a lot of us are afraid to land the plane because the story is more important than our worth because we're afraid of the accountability.
Ooh.
And that is the problem.
Say that again. Say
I
that
probably can't say it again because I was in the moment. You have to do the review on that one. You do the review on that one. I was just in the moment. I was in the moment.
I got you on that one because it sounded like you was in the moment. You got to say that again. Okay.
Yeah. I was just there. I was just there.
But I like that. Woo, I like that. All right, so here's another question. But no, let's do this. Let's take a break and then come back. And then I got some questions for you.
And I'll be very forward. I'll be straightforward. I promise.
All right, it's your girl, God is NmW&x here on this season of Self-Love Podcast. And we will be right back.
Get ready to bloom and blossom this April with Season of Self-Love. It's a month filled with daily affirmations designed to uplift and empower you on your self-love journey. Join us as we delve deeper into these affirmations and learn how they can positively impact your daily life. Hosted by the insightful Nyomi Banks, each episode promises to be an incredible affirmation experience. Plus, we're thrilled to have our resident therapist, Dr. Will Washington, joining us to provide expert guidance and support. Tune in daily to the Season of Self-Love podcast and let's discover together the power of self-love, affirmation, and personal growth. Don't miss out on this transformative journey. Subscribe now and start blooming into the best version of yourself. The Season of Self-Love podcast, where every day is an opportunity for growth and self-love.
Hey, it's Dr. Will with the Washington Wellness Institute. Here at the Institute, we focus on so many different things, but our biggest focus is modernizing how we take mental illness into holistic wellness and making healing a lifestyle. So, if you're interested in taking the next steps, whether it's a clinician, community member, or simply just a friend, sign up today for a 15-minute consultation. You won't regret it. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, well, welcome back. It's your girl, God is NmW&x here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. And I'm here with Dr. Will. Hey.
I am hopeful and homely.
Homely.
Yeah, like comfortable, very...
Okay.
Yeah, homely, like very...
Homely. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why when you said homely, that his name, when people say, oh, he's so homely. Like he's so ugly.
But homely's like, oh, you look comfortable. You look very comfortable.
Okay. I didn't see that word in the dictionary, but thank you for telling me that. Now I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go up and look it up. Homely. H-O-M-E.
Don't look it up. Thank you. Let's just keep going to questions. Don't do that. You're gonna text me and be like, that was not a word, right? I'm like, don't worry about that. Okay, nerd.
I'm like, oh wait, what? Oh, okay. I'm always down to learn something new. Like,
right. I know because you write stuff down. I was like I could care about you. Write down people. You write down people, the ones that get me caught up. I hate that.
All right, my beautiful people. Today we're talking about forgiveness for peace and healing, and we're talking about the affirmation. I got to get to that. We're talking about the affirmation. I release resentment and I forgive others to create space and peace and healing. And again, we have Dr. Will here to help. So we got some questions. I have some questions for you, Dr. Will. And I like how you said with resentment. Now, what are some practical strategies for releasing resentment and practicing forgiveness towards others?
Yeah, just 3 simple steps. First, understanding what do I feel that is overpowering me? First, you have to recognize what is overpowering me. The second thing is, what does my life look like when it's no longer there? So you can kind of start creating the vision of what's going to be expected from you.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what is one way that I can set myself up in the right direction? Not about taking the first step, it's the direction.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're so quick to move on from something or move into something or move out of something.
Yeah.
We don't always know where north is,
Mm.
right? So you have to first understand what is the thing, understand what would life be without it. So you have to recognize some of your own blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
What would you be susceptible to next? What would you be vulnerable to next? And then let's pivot in what direction seems most reasonable before we go in.
I promise you, last week, that situation, not knowing that is what I did. When you just was saying everything, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you know I'm not lying.
No, I know you did. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sister told me, she said, "Girl, you have really grown. I'm so proud of you, girl." I said, "Yeah."
I do things. I do a little bit of healing. I do a little bit of healing.
And like my mom said yesterday was funny. We was at the therapist and we were talking about anxiety. Because when she goes into the store, sometimes it's like her ears is like going through a tunnel, and she's like this, and she wants to get out of there, anxiety. So as we're talking to the doctor, she said, "But do you know what that is?" And I told her, I said, "I believe it's what anxiety." I said, because probably in that moment, what she remembers is what the price was then, wherever she's at, whether she's in 1980, 1970, 19, and now she sees a new price, that's different, even though she has done so many things in life and she has money, but in her mind, she's still on the scarcity side of things, as working a 9 to 5, standing at the bus stop waiting for my dad. You know what I'm saying? So she's in that survival mode. You know what I mean? And when she see what it is, now she's confused on where she is. So that comes with that anxiety. And it's all about finding ways to be able to be in the now. And that's something her and I talked about today too, about meditation. And she said, "Well, I need you to give me some of that." I said, "Well, I can't give you anything." I said, "But what I can do is I can help you." I said, "You come in my Golden Rose room with me. You come in there, you can sit down, with me, and be in that, in the space. But what you be doing it?" I said, "I pray." I said, "I meditate." I said, "I have, what I'm ready with the sage and the holy water. I got some of that in there too."
like I got what you need.
Like I got everything you need. Even the Bible is in there. Even the Bible is in there. She was like, I guess I'm gonna try it.
New things. I always say, when someone's going through dementia or Alzheimer's, it's important to give them new things to try all the time.
Yeah.
Right. That expands their ability to have that plasticity.
Yeah.
Right. It expands the language of plasticity.
Yeah.
So that's great that you offer that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So let me tell you something. I've been looking at these books, and I'm just gonna be real. I'm gonna tell you because you're a doctor, you're a therapist. I don't agree with half of that they put in there. I really don't.
It doesn't apply. It doesn't apply. I'll be honest with you. A lot of it doesn't apply. It doesn't. It's very idealist. Very idealist.
It's like I talked to her, and when I was talking to the doctor yesterday, I said, because she said, "Well, have you gotten the pamphlets and stuff?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "But that don't fit what we got going on over here." I said, "It ain't no one size fit all type of thing." I
Yeah.
said, because she asked me, do you remind her? I said, Sometimes I do remind her. I said, because I have to continue to build that trust with her. So
Mm.
if she say you didn't tell me, I don't get mad and say, yes, I did. And I said, well, Mom, do you remember I told you this, and so that kind of would help mend that distrust, because you're not holding anything back from her, and you have
Exactly.
to allow her to understand what she's going through, and why we have to keep telling her that, because there is a proactive way that we can do that can be preventive. You know what I'm saying? So it's like with the food,
Mm.
I'm changing our whole lifestyle of eating and everything like that.
Yeah.
So when you tell them this is what it is and there is no cure for it, and that you already made mine up. So no, let's go out here and let's do the things that's changed. So we know
Mm.
when we eat this, is it feeding our brain muscle?
There's a purpose to everything we're doing.
Yes.
And I wonder what she feels her purpose is. I'm very curious.
You know, that's so funny. When my dad passed away, and my mom was still working, she was still in Chicago, and I remember when she turned 65, I called her. I said, Mom, I said, come down here and move with me. I said, everything that you want to do, you can do, and she was like, fine. And I remember those first 2, 3 years of her living with me, I got to know who she was beyond my mother. And when I tell you we
Mm.
were oil and water,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we were oil and water. But I got to know who she was so much, like, I always knew she
Yeah.
was phenomenal, but now I'm talking to her on a whole total different level of it. So
Mm.
even going
Wow.
into this process with the dimension, and I
Mm-hmm.
understand who she is, and I do not want to take that away from her. So when you hear
Mm.
other loved ones and people say, "Well, you need to make her," because at the end of the day, that is still my mother. At the end of the day, this still is a very just she's 72, she's healthy, but I just want to remind her of who she is, and let's be proactive in all of those things. And I remember asking, "Do you
Mm.
know what your purpose is?" No, she always thought her purpose was for her to work and take care of her family, even though she did
Mm.
all these other things, but she never really found purpose in those things. It was always to live, or to have more money, to have more, accomplishments. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. And this, I'm trying not to sound harsh about this, but women in that generation, right? Even women in the 70s,
Hmm.
right? There was not, there weren't people that said, what do you want to be known for,
Yeah.
right? You're put into this society that says this is what you're supposed to do, this is who you're supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to abide by.
Hmm.
Anything outside of that, it goes against what will make you attractive or obtainable or successful in life. And now women are starting to actually understand that they're actually a whole human being
Hmm.
that can actually live their own lives. And to have to break that mold, there's a lot of forgiveness
Hmm.
that has to happen before we can even, like, forgiveness and resentment are like, they're, you gotta separate what am I resentful about and what am I resent. It's the same, almost the same thing at that point.
Hmm.
And so, like, with what you're doing right now is you're actually showing her how to release. And I wonder who she's going to be or how she's going to respond when she recognizes the power that she has to live this new life. And what does it really mean to her? But also, what does that mean to you?
I know what it's gonna be to me. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my superhero. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
a lot of her is in me. You know, the
Mm.
way that that's what that is. And
Yeah.
I have to remind her of that sometimes. So when she said, what was that? She has an Apple computer. She has this Apple computer.
Mm.
She has, yes, yes, a nice. Oh, it's nice. And She said, this intimidates me so much, it scares me. And I just said something right there. She said, you can do anything that you want to do, mama. No, but this technology and stuff. I said, you can do whatever you want. You put your mind to it. And I just kept repeating. And I said, because guess what? That's what you told me. I said, everything that you have said to me, I'm just saying it to you. But it ain't the same. Yes, it is. It's the same. So then I said, so was you lying? No, I wasn't lying, girl. I'm just asking.
For me, I would have fell on the sword and been like, if it's too hard for me, you're like, I'd be like, well, tell me what part's hard about it. Is it the typing? Is the big screen? Mm-hmm. Is it which part of it? Right? Because there's probably only one thing in there that you didn't know about, and you got insecure about it. What was that one thing?
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can see that happening. Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can see that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
Because I literally just saw a post the other day from a homegirl of mine that she talked about, like, oh, people are reliable. People need to be more reliable. And, it's hard to get reliable people in your life. And I shouldn't have posted. I hate posting on people's stuff. But I was like, I realized the root of the reliability is really you not being able to know how to ask for help. You didn't know how to ask for help. And we do not learn or be taught as children how to ask for help accurately from people, which is why people are not reliable, because they don't know how to help you, because you're not asking for what you specifically need from them.
Because you don't know what you need.
So the reliability that you're really looking for, you have to really stop and be like, how do I want them to be reliable to me? It's not just help me take care of my kids.
Right.
That's not, that doesn't, hey, I need you to pick up this one at 5:00 on Wednesday. Do you have the capacity for that? Yes, I can do that at 5:00. That's a reliable person. If I say, hey, can you pick up my kids during the week? That's when? Day, night?
Day with time, with like, mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we just don't know how to ask for that, which is why when it comes to releasing, you have to understand the permission you're giving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the permission you give other people in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that forgiveness can be really tricky if you don't know what you're really giving permission for.
Yeah. Ooh, you know what? You are so right. You are so right. Oh, you just hit me on that one. You are so right. So, and you said it in the first segment. You said something about it in the first segment. I have forgiven people, but I just would not allow you into my space anymore because I am no longer a subscriber to that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't love you any less. None of that. I'm just not a subscriber to that. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to be entertained by it. I don't want it in my,
Mm-hmm. I had to do that today. I realized that I have allowed so much things that just have taken from me.
Yeah.
And it upsets me so much when I recognize how much I allowed to just circle in whenever they felt. Mm-hmm. And when I stopped it, when I forgave myself for it, I said, hey, no, I can't be open to this anymore. I'm trying to get my life together. They were either upset or they're like, oh, okay, well, if you do feel otherwise, just come back. Which is interesting because it means that they had no plan on me ever changing. When you think about that, they had no plan on our relationship to ever change, to ever grow, to ever prosper. They wanted me right where I was at because all it did was benefit them. That pissed me off. But I gave you that impression. I gave you that permission to think that way about me. That pissed me off.
That's a whole nother show. That is a whole nother show. Because I'm over here like, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But that's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
It really is.
I've been working through a lot of anger these past couple weeks, these past 2 to 4 weeks. A lot of anger, and emotions are meant to be. Emotions are breath to me, so I've never experienced so much anger in my healing process, and that's that resentment, right? Anger a lot of times masked as anger, right? Resentment and anger have a lot in common, but once you internalize your anger, you realize that there's actually resentment, and that's one of the 5 emotional malignancies. Resentment is one of the 5 emotional malignancies I talk about in my model, that it can spread through all parts of your life if you don't learn to address it.
So how have you been able to release your anger? I know you make acknowledgement of it, and you have it. You'll make acknowledgement of this is what's happening right now. Now, for you, what do you do to release it? Is it something you're still working through?
It's something I'm still working through.
Okay.
And right now I'm halfway through my process. So the first process was me recognizing everything I was doing wrong. The second phase right now, I'm recognizing everything that I was doing wrong to others and what others were doing wrong to me. So recognizing the relationship dynamic. The next thing I'm going into right now, which is kind of like I'm going over that bridge right now, is I'm recognizing what I can no longer allow myself to be a part of anymore. So right now I'm doing the whole like holding that anchor, right? Yeah. I'm learning what's my life going to look like when I don't have that.
Yeah.
And I've already made my direction, because I recognize that my direction is going back home, right? My mind needs to be focused on home.
Yeah.
Right? Because home is where I'm safe. Yeah. Home is where I felt with integrity. Home is where I felt where I could respect myself. And so I'm learning that my anger was me not following the standard of my expectations. And I allowed that to be avoided out of my own ignorance, my own blind spots.
Yeah.
And so it's been this unique, like, right now I'm learning to envision what that's looking like. And my anger is starting to create the language. So my anger part is creating the language that's needed for the boundary to continue the care that's needed to drop my anger. So I'm using my anger to be constructive in my healing process.
Beautiful. I like that. I do. When you talk about the language, I think we talked about this a little bit last week with you on that one. So that I totally understood all of that. I got it all. That's beautiful. You're gonna get those. Yeah, you got this.
I'm getting there. I'll let you know I get to 3. It's a rough bridge. Got holes in it. I'm just trying to get through.
If you need some tools, I got some for you. Some hammers and some nails and some more wood.
I'm gonna have to get your tool shed, because it's a lot. I don't know how to build things, so
Yes, you do know how to build them. You just got to relearn how to use them. That's it.
Right. And, so I'm so glad you said that, because I always do my open letter for the month, and I recently did that, and it was about self-love. April for me was about self-love, and I wrote about that, and I said the most beautiful part about my downfall is that I'm returning back to the man I loved. And that has what's been keeping me alive through this process. I'm returning back to the man I loved.
Yeah. That's the question you asked me last week about when did I feel. Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
Full circle.
Oh, force. Wait, no, No, I didn't. All right, so this is gonna get off time. And why I'm speaking about this now, and I know we're talking about reserve, but why I have you here, I have to share this with you. And I believe I shared it on Monday's show. Mike, and it was more of a gratitude and thank you to her, because she shared something with me. and we shared a lot of things with each other as we, grew up and just going through marriages and stuff like that situation. But she had called me on Sunday, and she said, I just want to share something with you. And she said, I was looking through some books. I was cleaning my areas up and stuff like that. And she said, and I was looking through books to see what I was going to throw away. And she said, and I came across this book called 40 Days and 40 Nights of Self-Discovery. And she said, I don't even remember writing in this book. She said, but then when I opened up the book, there was a journal that I had written on October 10th, I believe it's 2013. It was in 2013. No, it was 2000. It was 2000. And then she had written everything about that she feel closer with God. She feels at her best when she's alone, when she's by herself, when she doesn't have to be around anybody else or pleasing them, that she has her quiet moment in her time, that she's able to read her Bible, she's able to speak to God, she's able to be creative and just be free. And she said, I didn't think at that, I wrote that because those are the things I really didn't want a husband. I've already been married before. That didn't work. I wasn't happy in that situation. She said, but she remembered going to a church of one of my auntie's church. And they had told her that, in the I guess in the sermon or whatever, he was saying that for a woman to be of a woman of substance or successful is that she has to be a covenant of a man. And so, she had written, like when I say written about being her own boss, just so many different things. Like she literally wrote her vision out on who she wanted to be. And she switched it because someone told her that she would not be able to get any of these things unless she was a covenant with a man. I said, what if it was your covenant was God? What if it was just your relationship with
most covenants are typically started with God. Like if it's a covenant, it usually has to deal with God first. So it doesn't even make any sense that you would even have to put a man involved.
Yeah. And I was like, girl, you good. You don't look for nobody else. You take care of what you're doing right here. And when I say she's phenomenal, this child got 3 degrees. She's thinking about working on her doctorate degree. She's not even a lawyer, but she's been fighting a case. When I say this girl is phenomenal, and then she's going to law school. Once she finished with this case, she going to law school. She said, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be fighting for people that don't know any better, that these cities and townships are taking advantage of. And then she ran for mayor.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And in that process, when we were talking, I told her, thank you. And she said, why? I said, you know what? Because one, you trusted me. You trust me to sit and you tell me this. She said, because you always tell me something that I need. I said, but you told me something that I need. Confirmation on things. You know what I'm saying? Just confirmation just all across the board. And I think sometimes when we have to sit and truly listen and understand what people are saying, because within when they're talking, there is a message for you. There is always a message for you. What I truly believe is when God aligns you with someone, there is a message for you through that connection. Whether that connection was good or bad, there still is a message and a lesson in it.
Yes.
So whoever that I have come in contact throughout all of my life of living, there was a lesson that was learned from those connections.
Yeah.
So even
thank you for saying that.
Yeah. So even could that even help with that anger?
Exactly. My anger is not going to resolve until I'm living the life I know I'm free of. Right? It's going to be there until I'm living the language I'm creating. My anger is creating the language needed, but that language has to be lived as well. And so it's happening slowly and surely. But I also know that I'm definitely in a healing space when I'm not rushing.
Yeah. Mm.
I'm not rushing to have what I want. I'm not rushing to feel how I'm trying to get to. I'm not trying to get to that space. I'm genuinely taking my time, making sure I'm being sensitive enough with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that lets me know, like, that's when you know you're actually healing, is when you're not worried about the result. You're not worried about the end. You're worried about who you are in the process.
Yeah.
Is this who I'm supposed to be? Is this what I'm supposed to do? Is this what? And you're more when people act crazy or talk crazy and stuff, you're just like, I'm more curious than anything. Like if anything, you're just more curious. I'm like, I did this for them. I'm like, and then you're making more about yourself. You're like, well, what did I do to set this up? And you think, and then you're just trying to analyze it. You're not, and you sitting there yelling at your face, and you're just like, interesting. You're like, what am I doing here? You know, I even did that. I took a homegirl to lunch with me the other day, and I was sitting there like, she's a great friend. Don't get me wrong, she's a great friend, but like, she was talking about her life, and this is the first time I actually I just my brain was like, what am I doing here? What is she talking about? She's lying right now. Why are we eating lunch here? I was
I'm
like, what
so
is
sorry.
this? You know, and I was,
Because I do that now. I swear I do that. It's like I'm clocked out. My face is listening. It's listening. But here it's like for real.
I'm just authentic about it. And like even before we even got into this podcast, I was in another seminar introduction, and we were on mute, and I was sitting here like, I work too hard. Like I want to sit here and look at another screen. Like I'm gonna get my guitar. So I got my guitar, and I just started practicing while they were doing their introductions. And I turned it on. And I was like, hey everybody, I'm Will, and blah blah. Did my whole spiel, and then and I just played. Like, oh, you're playing guitar. I'm like, yeah, it's been a long day. I just want to relax. And I just felt like I didn't care that I might have been. Look, I did what you need me to do. I'm doing my thing. Like you start recognizing like I don't have to abide by your sense of normalcy. I don't have to norm to your expectation. I did what I had to do. Right. And I'm starting to learn that in this process that a lot of times we neglect our own needs.
Yeah.
For the feelings and thoughts and considerations of others.
Yeah.
When you're not in a place of self.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes it hard to release. It does.
Yeah. It's yeah. We do be doing some talking. I don't know. You do a lot of talking.
You did. You did. You asked that question, and it just went. I said I would answer very directly about these questions.
You know what you should have said? You should have said ditto.
See, this is why I'm not playing with you. This is why I'm not playing with you.
Yeah, that is an inside joke. I probably
why don't we come over with the shirt tomorrow that says ditto? What size shirt you wear? Look,
I wear a medium, a large, ditto.
Got you.
All right, guys. I truly do apologize that we didn't get it all in, but we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back probably next month or another week and talk about this very topic here on the season of self-love. But again, I thank you all for continuing just to be here with us as we truly have authentic conversations about this. This is a much needed platform that is needed out there. And I am truly excited to see what more we can do with it in breaking it down. All of those good things. Is there anything else that you got to say before we go?
Be kind to yourself and heal always.
I like that. Be kind to yourself and heal always. So until tomorrow, you all have a good one. Thank you for listening to the Season of Self-Love podcast. And we hope that you enjoyed this fun filled with inspiration, empowerment, and self-discovery. Remember, practicing self-love is a journey and not a destination. For more information and to stay connected with us, visit our website at theseasonofselflovepodcast.com. And if you have any suggestions or questions or feedback, feel free to shoot us an email at seasonofselflove@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook for daily doses of self-love tips, motivation, and community support. So join our Facebook group, The Season of Self-Love, to connect with like-minded individuals on their journey to self-discovery and self-compassion. Thank you again for being a part of our community and dedicating to nurturing self-love and embracing self-worth. So stay tuned for more exciting episodes and guests in the next season. And remember, you are worthy of love, kindness, and all the happiness in the world. So until next time, take care of yourself and spread love wherever you go. See you soon.